So, my name is Ryan Boyles. We are here with Michael Rowe and Veronica Belmont. I'm at the Rab on Twitter, at Michael Rowe01, I think, and just at Veronica. So we're going to have a quick sort of just free-form discussion about Internet of Things, and we're going to kind of dissect sort of the creepy versus magic factor of a lot of different technologies that we are following, both in the day job and in our free time, and geeking out about the gadgets that everyone is using in their day-to-day life. So the first thing I wanted to queue up to talk about is this thing that I customized before I came on site here at the Disney Resort here in Orlando. It's a magic band. It's something that I talked to one of the ops guys at Disney last night, and he told me this is the third generation of the band. They're doing a lot with personalization now, as you know. You can download a free app, and it basically links everything that you do, reserve, want to plan in your Disney, visit experience. Yes, and that the app is called My Disney Experience. And
Good name for it.
The interesting thing for me, and the creepy versus magic question that I would pose is, Star Wars weekend was happening. This is a reason I went over there. I get to the gate, and they did a biometric scan in addition to scanning this. So they are linking your identity very closely to both the band and your ticket that you bought to get into the park. So I don't know. That worried me.
So what was the biometric that they did? Was it a saliva?
It was just fingerprint.
Just fingerprint.
But that alone, I was like, am I giving a blood sample? What's happening here?
A stool sample?
Did you? You felt a little prick when you put your finger down.
We had already gone through the line for the security. They've got TSA style security there now and everything. So to me, I was like, wow, this is. I was kind of worried about it.
Well, I find it kind of interesting because what they've really done is they kind of converged your experiences together into that portal to make a customer experience uniquely to you, right? And I was reading a book a while back, and they were talking about convergence and how 100 years ago, if you went to the grocery store and you walked in, the person would say, "Hey, hi, Mr. Rowe. It's Sunday. I understand you usually cook a roast. Here's a nice roast I picked out for you." And now, if you go to the grocery store and someone says, "Hey, Mr. Rowe, here's a roast," you go, "Oh man, that's kind of freaky," right? So at Disney, you probably want them to say, "Hey, Ryan, come on in. We got your favorite table with Cinderella set up."
Yeah.
Also, frankly, if you already thought that Disney wasn't tracking you, you're crazy because their technology is so advanced. I mean, they can literally track your face from one end of the park to the other continuously with no break in the footage, if they think that you're doing something weird. Continuously, from camera to camera. There's so many cameras in this is Disneyland, I know for sure. Disney World is, I assume, as secure in that regard.
About the biometric you were talking about earlier.
Well, they do the biometrics,
They're linking that biometric to those. If they're doing facial recognition, I'm sure they're taking that biometric and linking all that together. So.
And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I recently went through the whole process of going through the TSA pre and getting global entry and, that kind of thing. It's a little bit different because it requires like an interview process and a 6-month waiting period and a full background check. But we're doing it for our own convenience. And it's the same situation, just kind of really scaled down. If you want that kind of personal convenience, you have to be willing to make the concessions of giving up a little bit of yourself to the Walt Disney Corporation. And I mean, if you like being able to go into the park and having them unlock rides for you, or having them have certain meal specials because they know that, oh, you're Ryan, you've got a family of 3. We happen to have a table at this restaurant for a family of 3. You've eaten here before. Maybe you would like to come join us for that meal. I mean, that's really the kind of experience they're trying to build. It is a little creepy, especially when you have to stick your finger on a scanner. But I think more and more and increasingly we're becoming a little bit more used to that. And I'm not surprised that Disney is one of the people that's kind of taking the first steps.
Well, there's one really interesting thing about that immediately comes to my mind, and that's the whole privacy versus security aspect, right? And when we talk about security, one of the things is to have something you have and something right? So that someone else can't hack it, because they can figure out what you have and maybe steal it, but they don't know what you know, or there's different ways of dealing with that. And you tie that into the location that you're at and the experience you're looking for. Again, that whole contextual environment. And that's what's really exciting to me when we talk about the Internet of Things, right? And so it's not just about, I like to joke, I always say the Internet of Things is so unbelievably simple. It's just a thing that can say, hi, I'm a thing, and send it somewhere. And that somewhere then takes that and goes, we should do something with that, and sends it back to the thing or back to another thing, right? Or a person, a lot of things, right? And then you go, well, that's pretty simple. But yeah, there's millions of people with billions of things sending trillions of messages, and as a developer or an engineer, then I try to look at that and I go, what cool stuff can I do with it, right? Yeah. And then when you figure out that, then you get some cool stuff like the Disney rides.
I think privacy is an illusion. Yes. That we have created to make ourselves feel okay about things. I think it's taken the United States, for example, a really long time to get onto the, RFID and NFC bandwagon because of these, untrue feelings about security. I mean, yeah, they're not necessarily the most secure pieces of technology, but at the same time, other countries have been using them to great convenience for, public transportation and being able to buy things with that same card that you use to ride the subway with for a really long time, and there hasn't been that much of an issue. If someone wants your personal data, if someone wants access to your accounts and your profile online, there's a good chance they're going to be able to do it no matter what you're doing. I mean, we can continue to create like 16-digit alphanumeric passwords and two-factor authentication and all these other ways that we protect ourselves, but it's still, in my point of view, probably an illusion. Like, I have no doubt that most of my personal information is out there on the internet already, which I've probably willingly given and put out there myself. So it's just, I don't want to stop myself from having convenient experiences, for example, like at Walt Disney World or like riding the subway and then being able to buy, a pack of gummy bears on the other end using the same card.
Yeah, I think when you look at, so that is sort of, that was the experience because that you've already given your data away. They already have it, either in this private way, which you registered something and opt in, or with social media, you've given away your Foursquare check-in location, or you've been posting photos that are geotagged, all that stuff that you would do during your normal day at Disney or in a restaurant at home or whatever. So I think where it comes in is when those different sort of maybe unintended uses are surfaced, whether that's a new way that Disney wants to remix your data and maybe give you that personalized experience, which I do think that's the next thing, is that to have the magic experience for a child. They're going to they are going to profile you and say, oh, you would, it would be awesome for, Cindy to meet Cinderella, at a certain time, and we know that would make her trip.
I think the key thing there, though, is really knowledge, right? And understanding. The unintended aspect is I think, where the creepy line gets, right? It's when you understand you are sharing stuff. I mean, there's so much that's shared. I mean, you can wipe out your browser cookies, but they're coming back, right? And so just to use a trivial example, right? But understanding what you're sharing, why you're sharing, and I know there's people that get kind of freaked out on this and like fake profiles and try to dummy up their data online. That's not really worthwhile, because unless you're religious about it in every aspect of your life, your grocery store is going to track you, right? Mm-hmm. And what's good about that, we opt in for a convenience and some value back. And if you can set up the right expectation that for this data, I will get this back. Gmail, it's free, okay? And you're getting what you pay for. It's a great service. You're giving a lot of information. The example that I like thinking about through this, again, Internet of Things example, is people are asking, why did Google buy Nest? And, I look at this and I say, it's huge amount of data that they're getting about my lifestyle. So every morning I get up at around a certain time. The motion sensor kicks off on Nest. They know I'm up. They know when I leave the house because an away mode kicks in. I use Waze as my GPS, so they know the direction I'm going. They know I go to a certain coffee shop in the morning when I'm going to the office or even working from home. And there's huge amounts of data there that they can say, well, Michael, we see that you're going into the office, but you're going 3 miles out of the way to that coffee shop. If you go to this way on the way to the office, there's a new shop, here's a coupon, maybe you can set up a transaction there.